Bloom boosters are said to give you more blooms on your flower. They don't work. The whole idea of bloom boosters is complete nonsense. In fact, if you use too much bloom booster, you not only stop your plants from growing properly, but you make your soil toxic. So what are bloom boosters? Well, these are fertilizers with a high middle number, a lot of phosphorus, and some of them also have a higher than normal amount of potassium. That's the third number in the NPK. Many of these products are called bloom boosters, but they also go under other names like more bloom, or just bloom, or just bloom fertilizer. One is even called flower boost. And then for you guys who are growing marijuana, there's a special one called Big Bud. Bloom boosters is an idea that was developed from the fertilizer company. They knew you wanted more flowers, so they produced a product that gives you more flowers. Historically, on farms in agriculture, when the soil became very depleted of phosphate, they found that adding some phosphate to the soil improved plant growth and flowering. Then they thought, well, if we put phosphate everywhere, then all plants will flower more. But the science doesn't support that. Unless you have a phosphate deficiency, which is not likely, bloom boosters will not give you more flowers. I hope you'll stick with me and listen to the rest of this video because there's some really important information in this video. It might actually explain why you're not getting a lot of flowers. So what does phosphorus do in a plant? Well, people say that phosphorus grows roots and grows flowers. Now that's sort of true, but it's very misleading, and I wish people would stop saying that. Let's have a look at the three main nutrients that plants use. Nitrogen grows leaves. That's true. Nitrogen is critical for photosynthesis. That's the green stuff in plants. But nitrogen is critical for making protein. And proteins make every reaction in a plant take place. Nothing happens in a plant without protein. So proteins are critical to root growth and flowering and fruiting and everything else the plant does. Now phosphate, the middle number of the NPK, that's used in DNA. That means that every single cell that a plant produces needs phosphate. Phosphate is also used as a way for the plant to get energy. It's like a rechargeable battery. There's a molecule called ATP, and when it gets energized, it stores that energy that can be used somewhere else in the plant. That's critical for every function in a plant. Leaf growth, root growth, flowers, fruiting, everything that goes on in a plant. Now, potassium is critical as a balancing agent. It controls how fast things happen. Again, every function in a plant needs potassium. If you take away any one of these three nutrients, a plant doesn't function. No roots, no flowers, no leaves, no fruits, nothing. A plant needs a balanced amount of these nutrients. This idea that you can take one of these nutrients and give it to plants in very high concentrations and makes things happen, that's just simply wrong. That's not how plants work. Well, if plants need all three nutrients, how much of each one do they need? Well, one way to figure this out is to actually take a leaf or a part of a plant and analyze the nutrients in it. And when we do that, we find the ratio is in the order of 3:1:2. A lot of nitrogen, a small amount of phosphate, and a medium amount of potassium. In some plants, that potassium is a little higher, so they might be a 3:1:3. Now, that's the ratio of the NPK. But as you can see, a plant that's growing properly has a lower amount of phosphate than the other two nutrients. In fact, a plant uses more calcium and more magnesium and more sulfur than phosphate. Phosphate is one of these nutrients that's absolutely necessary, but not in large quantity relative to the other nutrients I've just mentioned. What about the experts in growing flowers? Well, the American Rose Society has this to say. Commercial growers of roses generally feed their plants with an NPK of 3:1:2. Now, these guys know something about growing flowers, so let's listen to them and keep the phosphate low. Now, what happens if the phosphate level in your soil gets high? Well, your plants start having some problems. They can't get enough zinc or iron. Your soil might have lots of iron, but the phosphate prevents the plant from absorbing that iron. and you start seeing interveinal chlorosis, a clear sign of iron deficiency. Too much phosphate causes plants not to grow well. The other thing that happens is that higher rates of phosphate prevent mycorrhizal fungi from joining into plants. This is critical for plant growth. Without the fungi there, plants have to make bigger root systems, so they need to expend more energy and more resources in growing a big root system. They grow better with the fungi there, and that only happens with lower levels of phosphate. So does your soil have enough phosphate? An analysis of soil tests completed by the University of Minnesota between 1988 and 2021 showed that most lawns and gardens have too much phosphorus. In fact, the average value was 68 parts per million. Now that's using a test called the Bray test, and it is important to know which test is done if you get your soil analysis. When they analyzed farm field, the average value was 26 parts per million. A reading of 20 is considered sufficient for growing vegetables, and it's more than enough for growing lawns. So what does this mean? Well, it means that gardens have far too much phosphate. They have 3 times the level that they should have. And this is usually due to the fact that gardeners like to add lots of fertilizer, even when they don't need it. The other problem with too much phosphate is that the excess runs off into our rivers and streams and causes all kinds of problems there. Things like algae bloom. We have to keep phosphate out of our waterway, and to do that we need to apply less to soil. So how do you know how much phosphate you have? Well, you have 2 options. One, assume you have enough. Most soil in North America has lots of phosphate. The exception is very sandy soil or soil that has very acidic pH, down below 5. If you're not in those categories, assume you have enough. And if you really want to know the number, get a soil test done. If the value is over 25 in the Bray test or over 18 in the Olson test, stop adding phosphate. Don't add any for several years and then get your soil tested again. You have to get that phosphate level down below those numbers. Everything I've told you so far applies to your garden soil. But what about containers? Well, for containers, you can assume that your phosphate level is a bit lower. And provided you're fertilizing with the correct fertilizer, and that will have an NPK ratio of 3:1:2, a low middle number, you're going to be fine. Just continue using that fertilizer. But don't use bloom boosters. Bloom boosters will make the phosphate level too high, even in containers. So let's summarize. Bloom boosters is a marketing trick to get you to buy special fertilizer. And phosphate's fairly expensive, so it's hitting your pocketbook. Don't buy bloom boosters. If your plants aren't performing, they're not producing enough leaves or they're not producing enough flowers, the nutrient they're probably missing is nitrogen. Nitrogen allows a plant to get larger, and then the nitrogen is critical for making flower. And nitrogen is the one nutrient that is most likely deficient in your soil. And increasing those a little bit, in most cases, will help you grow better plants. Better plants, more flowers. You can't get flowers without growing better plants. But in most cases, you really don't have to fertilize. If you have any doubts about nutrients, you think you're deficient, have your soil tested. It's the only way to know which nutrients to add. Except, of course, a little extra nitrogen never hurts. Here's 2 ways to understand fertilizers and your soil better. The first one is get a copy of my book, Soil Science for Gardeners. And it explains all of this in that book. It will save you a lot of money in fertilizer costs. But if you're wondering, should I fertilize my garden? Then you'll find the answer to that in this video right here. Happy gardening.